The autumn air hung heavy with the scent of freshly cut grass and anticipation as the university's football field buzzed with excitement. The stands were packed with students, their cheers echoing across the campus as the final whistle blew. The scoreboard flashed, 3-2, a narrow victory for the home team. Taehyung, sweat dripping from his brow, ripped off his helmet, his dark eyes scanning the crowd. He was the university's golden boy, the star striker whose every move on the field was poetry in motion. But today, his jaw clenched as he spotted the new team captain, Min-jae, YN's older brother, hoisting the best player trophy aloft, basking in the crowd's adoration. Min-jae had always been Taehyung's rival, their competition a simmering fire that fueled every match. They were evenly matched, both prodigies, both relentless. But Min-jae's recent appointment as captain, and now this award had tipped the scales. Taehyung's pride stung like an open wound. He didn't clap when Min-jae raised the trophy. Instead, his gaze drifted to the sidelines, where YN stood, clapping for her brother with a proud smile. Her hair caught the late afternoon sun, and for a moment, Taehyung's mind flickered with a dark idea, a way to twist the knife deeper than any game loss could. YN was Min-jae's younger sister, a sophomore major in literature, known for her quiet intelligence and the way she seemed oblivious to the campus's social hierarchy. She wasn't like the cheerleaders who fawned over Taehyung or the groupies who trailed Min-jae. She was different, vulnerable, perfect. Taehyung's plan formed that night in his dorm, the hum of his roommate's music fading as he stared at the ceiling. If he couldn't take Min-jae down on the field, he'd hit him where it hurt most, his family. YN would be his pawn. He'd make her fall for him, string her along, and then shatter her heart. Min-jae would be helpless, watching his sister crumble because of his rival. It was cruel, but Taehyung's anger burned too hot for remorse. He'd do whatever it took. The next week, Taehyung began his campaign. He'd seen YN in the library, her nose buried in a worn copy of Pride and Prejudice. She sat alone, her glasses slipping down her nose, completely unaware of the whispers around her about her brother's latest triumph. Taehyung slid into the chair across from her, his signature smirk in place. "Hey," he said, his voice low and warm, like he was letting her in on a secret. "You're Min-jae's sister, right? YN?" She looked up, startled, her eyes wide behind her glasses. Yeah. And you're Taehyung?" He nodded, leaning back in his chair, letting his athletic frame and easy confidence do half the work. "Guilty. I saw you at the game yesterday. You looked proud of your brother." Her smile was soft, unguarded. "He's worked hard for it. Captain and best player? That's a big deal." Taehyung's stomach twisted, but he kept his expression light. "Yeah, he's something else. But I'm more curious about you. What's your deal?" "Always hiding out in the library." YN laughed, a sound so genuine it almost made him falter. "Almost. Not hiding. Just books are better company than most people." He leaned forward, resting his chin on his hand, his eyes locked on hers. "I don't know about that. I think I could give those books a run for their money." Her cheeks flushed, and Taehyung knew he had her attention. Over the next few weeks, he was relentless but subtle. He'd bump into her at the campus coffee shop, offering to buy her a latte while joking about her brother's over-the-top victory speech. He'd sit with her during study sessions, pretending to struggle with his English lit assignments just to ask for her help, letting her talk passionately about Austen and Bronte. He'd text her late at night, sending memes or asking about her day, each message carefully crafted to draw her closer. YN, for her part, was falling. Hard. Taehyung was everything she wasn't used to, charismatic, confident, and attentive in a way that made her feel seen. He'd show up at her favorite bench by the quad with 2 iced coffees, remembering her order perfectly. He'd walk her to class, his hand brushing hers just enough to spark butterflies. When he invited her to watch a practice match, cheering from the sidelines as he scored a goal and winked at her, she felt her heart stutter. "You're not like I expected," she admitted one evening as they sat on the bleachers after practice, the field empty and the stars beginning to peek through. "I thought you'd be, I don't know, arrogant, like my brother can be sometimes." Taehyung chuckled, masking the venom behind his smile. "Min-jae's got that market cornered. I'm just trying to keep up." He paused, then turned to her, his expression softening. "But you, YN, you're the real surprise. I didn't expect to like you this much." Her breath caught, and he saw the moment she fell a little deeper. He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, his fingers lingering just a second too long. "Taehyung," she started, but he cut her off with a grin. "Come to the team party this weekend," he said. "I want you there." She hesitated, her shyness warring with the pull she felt toward him. "Okay," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'll come." The team party was in full swing at a frat house off campus, music thumping and red Solo cups littering every surface. Taehyung kept YN close, his arms slung casually around her shoulders as he introduced her to his teammates. Minjae was there, of course, holding court with his usual swagger, but his eyes narrowed when he saw Taehyung with YN. He cornered Taehyung later, away from the crowd. "What's your game, Kim?" Minjae's voice was low, dangerous. "Stay away from my sister." Taehyung raised an eyebrow, feigning innocence. "Just having fun, Captain. YN's a big girl. She can handle herself." Minjae's jaw tightened, but he didn't push further. Not yet. Taehyung smirked as he walked away, knowing he'd struck a nerve. The plan was working. YN, oblivious to the tension, was glowing. She laughed at Taehyung's jokes, danced with him when he pulled her onto the makeshift dance floor, and blushed when he whispered in her ear that she looked beautiful. By the end of the night, when he walked her back to her dorm, she was practically floating. "Taehyung," she said, stopping outside her building, her voice soft but earnest. I really like you. Like a lot." He looked down at her, her eyes shining with hope, and for a split second, guilt flickered in his chest. She was so open, so trusting. But then he pictured Minjae's smug face, the trophy, the captain's armband, and the fire in his gut roared back to life. "I like you too, YN," he said, his voice smooth as silk. He leaned in, kissing her gently, just enough to seal the lie. Her lips were soft, hesitant, and when she pulled back, her smile was radiant. He hated how easy it was. The next month was a whirlwind. Taehyung played the part of the perfect boyfriend, publicly attentive, privately devastating. He'd hold her hand during campus events, cheer for her at the poetry slam she nervously entered, and send her goodnight texts that made her heart race. But every move was calculated, every gesture a step closer to his endgame. He knew Minjae was watching, seething, unable to stop it without alienating YN. This thing affected his game too, to the point where he would get scolded for not paying attention by the coach. The breaking point came at the university's annual sports gala, a glitzy event where athletes were celebrated. Minjae was set to receive another award, and Taehyung knew this was his moment. He'd spent weeks building YN up, making her believe he was in love with her. Now he'd tear it all down. At the gala, YN looked stunning in a simple navy dress, her eyes sparkling as she sat beside Taehyung. He'd been extra attentive all night, whispering sweet nothings, his hand resting on her knee under the table. When Minjae was about to get up to get the award, the host announced Taehyung's name, and Minjae sat frozen. He took the award and got off the stage. Taehyung gave a smirk to Minjae and leaned close to YN, his voice low. "You know, I've been thinking," he said, his tone casual but laced with intent. "This thing between us, it's been fun, right?" Her smile faltered slightly. "Fun? Yeah, but it's more than that, isn't it?" He tilted his head, his expression unreadable. "Sure, for you. But I mean, come on, YN. You didn't really think this was serious, did you?" The words hit like a slap. Her eyes widened, searching his face for a hint of a joke. "What are you saying?" Taehyung leaned back, his smirk cold. "I'm saying I got what I wanted. You were convenient. A way to mess with your brother. And it worked. Look at him there, thinking he's untouchable. But I got to him through you." IN's breath hitched, her hands trembling in her lap. You used me? All of this was just a game?" He shrugged, his voice devoid of warmth. "Call it what you want. You were an easy mark, YN. Too trusting, too sweet." Tears welled in her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. Not yet. "You're lying," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You felt something. I know you did." Taehyung's heart twisted, but he forced it down. He stood, brushing off his suit jacket. "Believe what you want. I'm done here." He walked away, leaving her frozen at the table, her world collapsing around her. Minjae caught sight of YN's expression and immediately knew something was wrong. He stormed over, his eyes blazing as he grabbed Taehyung's arm in the hallway. "What did you do to her?" Minjae growled, his voice shaking with rage. Taehyung yanked his arm free, his smirk venomous. "Just showed her who's really in control. You might be the captain, but I can snatch that from you. Min Jae's fist connected with Taehyung's jaw before he could react, sending him stumbling back. The crowd gasped, but Taehyung just laughed, wiping blood from his lip. Worth it, he said, his voice dripping with malice, before turning and disappearing into the crowd. YN sat alone, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, staring at the empty chair where Taehyung had been. The gala's noise faded to a dull roar in her ears. She felt hollow, the weight of his words crushing her. Every moment, the coffee dates, the late-night talks, the kiss under the stars, had been a lie. She'd trusted him, opened her heart, and he'd used it to stab her brother in the back. Min Jae found her moments later, his anger replaced with concern as he knelt beside her. YN, what happened? What did he say? She shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. He never cared. It was all to get to you. Min Jae's face darkened, but he pulled her into a hug, his voice fierce. I'm sorry. I should have stopped him sooner. This is my fault. No, she said, pulling back, her eyes finally spilling over. It's mine. I believed him. She stood, ignoring the curious stares from the crowd, and walked out of the gala, her heart in pieces. Taehyung had won his revenge, but at what cost? As she disappeared into the night, the weight of her heartbreak lingered, a wound that would take far longer to heal than any trophy could justify.